Hey everybody, I'm back working on the S10, and let me just put it to you like this: when I'm not dying, I'm crying. As you know, I just put a new radiator in this because the old one had a split and I put the new one in. I made a couple of videos about how I put the radiator in and what I found out about, and how you have those little like horseshoe clips that hold the transmission and oil lines in. Well, I got it all together, and in the video I started it up. There was not a leak, and I drove this up 2 towns over, stopped, filled it with gas, looked underneath. There was not a drip coming from either the transmission lines or the oil lines, you know, the engine oil lines and or coolant. Nothing was leaking out. I drove back home, got home, checked, still nothing leaking out. And I drove this car for 2-3 days, car truck, and I kept checking. Absolutely no leaks. So I felt, this is great. This is great. This truck has, you know, just over 100,000 miles on it. I feel like I could maybe drive this for the rest of my life. Well, my wife asked me to go and get some dirt, and I went and I got the dirt. And there's the pile of dirt. It's a pretty good sized pile. I mean, the back of that bed was pretty loaded. And driving back, all of a sudden the brakes started acting screwy. And I'm wondering what's going on. By the way, all that dirt I had to move using this little wheelbarrow out of the truck to here, because that's as far as I could get the truck to. I had to have it towed in. The engine seized up, and I'm going to tell you what happened, and I'm praying right now that I can correct it. So let's get back over to the S10. What I was saying, you know, on the earlier videos I did about putting in the radiator, that the last line you got to plug in, which in this one, the last line I plugged in was the bottom oil line, engine oil line, and I was a little suspicious that it wasn't in right, but I'd pull back and it wouldn't come out. It's kind of in a jammed up place, but like I says, after I started the truck up and drove it, not a leak, not even a drop. So I was convinced it was good until I put all that dirt in the back. And when I had the dirt in it, definitely the back was down quite a bit. And I think that flexed this here truck just enough that it made that line come out, and the oil leaked out. And I got to within about 1.5 miles of home, and I was at a stop sign, and I feel grateful that I you know, all the way home, because the brakes were acting funny. I had that loaded dirt. I was driving very slow, but it conked out at the stop sign, and I was real lucky. A soldier that happened to be behind me, he got out, and thank God he was there, and we pushed it off the road. And then I later got a wrecker to come and pull it home. But that was another 75 bucks. But we got it here, and what I'm doing now is I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm praying, and I'm hoping I get lucky, and I'm pulling the plugs out. I got the plugs out on the other side. That's what they look like. They look good, you know. I think that's what you'd call a normal wear. And so I got the three on that one side, I'm getting them on this side, and I'm squirting oil into the cylinders. And I'm going to let the oil sit in there a while, and I'm hoping that with no compression and the cylinders oiled up, the engine will break loose. And if it does, you know, and I'll keep adding a little oil. What I've been doing is I put this hose into, you know, where the spark plug's out of, in that port or whatever you want to call it, and then I hook this little can and I boop, 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 and then it wants to come back. The oil goes in, but the can sucks it back, so you got to kind of open let air pass, and then once I got this tube full, I blow the oil into the cylinder. And I got 3 done, and I just pray, like I've already said, that when I get this side done, that it will turn over and spin, and I'll bump it and I'll bump it, and I'll do this, you know, 4 or 5 times, get the cylinders nice and wet, slick with oil, and hopefully get that oil pump primed up, because it was bone dry. And I put oil in it and and hopefully it'll start up and run good enough that I can at least drive it around and get some use out of it. And or that, or I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm not about to tear the motor apart and rebuild it or put another one in. I'm just not up to that anymore. I got too many other projects going on, as you know. But that's where I'm at. So what I'm saying is this: you change out that radiator and you put those lines on, the transmission lines and the oil lines. Just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on your oil pressure. I really don't know what to say, because it wasn't leaking, not a bit, until I loaded up the bed with all that dirt, and that flexed it and pulled it out just enough. Let me show you the other side, and then I'll end this. You can see where the oil, I got out. I was like, I forgot what was going on, and it's just oil all over. I don't know if this is coming out, but oil is all over the place. And yeah, I got the spark plugs out on this side, and I marked this one so that I know, and I wrote it down because I'm getting forgetful, so I know this goes to there, and this one's in the middle, and the long one's up here. The other side's kind of opposite. The long one is in the back. But that's where I'm at, and I'll let you know whether I'm successful or not. I will add to this. Everybody, take it easy now.